أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Esteemed speakers and distinguished members of the audience, welcome everyone to IOU UAE Student Committee's live event in collaboration with Al Fudayl Academy. It is day one of the Ramadan Retreat Conference 2024, and we are gathered here today to delve more on the topic of Ramadan with the family. My name is Ziana Fateh, and I am a member of the IOU UAE Students Committee and will be your host today for this event, inshallah. I would like to thank all of you for finding the time to attend this event and pray that everyone is able to take away and learn a lesson or two from the things that will be discussed today by our eminent speakers. Please send in any of your queries in the YouTube live chat or a WhatsApp chat, and our chat moderators, Sister Alia and Sister Memuna, will answer them for you throughout the session, inshallah. Do make sure to check out and save the date and time of our upcoming sessions in this conference. The relevant links will be sent onto the YouTube live chat by our chat moderators. Before we commence the conference, it is imperative that I highlight the institution that has empowered me with knowledge to share insights on improving your Ramadan, the International Open University. At the International Open University, our focus is on providing authentic, accessible, and affordable education imbued with Islamic ethics. Our various departments offer bachelor's, associate, master's, and even PhD programs in Islamic studies, education, Islamic economics, banking, and finance, psychology, IT, business administration, and Arabic language. Our degrees and certificates are accredited and reasonably priced, taking into account the economic conditions of your country of residence. IOU also offers programs at its Global Quran Memorization Center, including Quranic programs such as memorization, ijaza, tajweed, and khatma. Short courses under a General Diploma of Islamic Studies are available at a minimal subscription fee of as little as $1 per month.
Are you struggling with commitments and responsibilities? Are your goals halted for lack of opportunities? Don't worry, we can give you a helping hand. We are the International Open University, IOU. For over a decade, IOU has established itself as a leading online Islamic university. We offer a range of programs from a wide number of disciplines, like psychology, education, business administration, and Arabic language at various degree levels, including certificates, bachelor's, and master's. Our university is accredited in the Gambia and offers affordable fees to you, irrespective of where you live. IOU has been proud to teach students from all over the world and be led by its founder, Dr. Bilal Phillips. With us, you can experience diversity through shared faith and strong alumni support. IOU's blended learning incorporates Islamized education through all its mainstream curricula. IOU ensures adequate preparation for your dream career to gain authentic knowledge of Islam and help you towards self-enhancement. Your wait is finally over. Just take the first step to get in touch with us. Let us guide you to continue your amazing journey of knowledge and excellence with the International Open University. Register today for our spring or fall semesters and enjoy a 10% discount when you enroll early. Learn more at our website. Are you struggling?
We must also acknowledge our partners at Al Fudayl Academy, whose invaluable support has played a crucial role in bringing this conference to fruition today. All praise be to Allah. Al Fudayl Academy, established with a clear vision, stands as a guiding light for the Muslim community. It is committed to offering impactful programs and workshops that deeply resonate with individuals with the aim of refining character and elevating it to a noble and dignified state. These endeavors inspire participants to actively seek the pleasure of Allah. The Academy's meticulously designed sessions focus on personal growth, spiritual enlightenment, and ethical enhancement, promoting virtues such as compassion, humility, integrity, and gratitude. Recognizing self improvement as a lifelong journey, Al Fudayl Academy offers a range of programs tailored to cater to diverse interests and community needs. These include Quranic studies, discussions on the traditions of Prophet, and practical workshops on Islamic ethics. Barakallahu fihum. Brothers and sisters, parents and children, welcome to our discussion on Ramadan, a sacred and cherished month in the Islamic calendar. As your host, I am delighted to guide you through this exploration, particularly focusing on Ramadan for families and children. Ramadan is more than just a month of fasting, it's a time of reflection, spiritual growth, and community bonding. For families, it offers a unique opportunity to come together, strengthen bonds, and deepen their connection to faith. Throughout this discussion, we'll delve into various aspects of Ramadan, tailored specifically for families and children. From the significance of fasting to the practices of charity and kindness, we'll explore how families can make the most of this blessed month. We'll also address some common questions that children may have about Ramadan, providing insights and understanding to help them appreciate its importance in their lives and the lives of Muslims around the world. So, whether you're a parent looking for ways to engage your children in Ramadan traditions or a curious youngster eager to learn more, join us on this journey as we celebrate the beauty and blessings of Ramadan for families and children alike. On that note, with great pleasure, I would like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Sister Haleh Banani. Sister Haleh Banani has her master's in clinical psychology and has been serving the Muslim community since 1998. She is the founder of Five Pillars of Marriage, a global support group called the Mindful Hearts, and the premarital program with comedian Baba Ali called Laugh and Learn. She had her own TV show called With Haleh. She is an international speaker with an ijaza in the recitation of the Quran from Egypt. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Sister Haleh Banani.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulullah. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be here at IOU. I love participating in the amazing events that you have. And this is such a critical topic in how to make Ramadan fun for our children. You know, I remember it like it was yesterday. Now my children are 24, 21, and 19. But at the time, mashallah, they were 10, 7, and 4. And at that time, we were living in Egypt, and it was Ramadan. And Ramadan in Egypt, if any of you have experienced it, is quite festive. And there's excitement in the air with the fanus, the colorful clothes, the cloths, and the lights. And I wanted to make sure that our home reflected that festive environment. So we would go out of our way to make the environment very conducive to being excited. We would put lights and lanterns but the main objective, it wasn't just creating the ambience, but the main objective was to create a positive association to Ramadan. Actually, a positive association to the deen. Since I had done my master's in psychology, I knew the importance of this positive association and how crucial it was to make the experience enjoyable and memorable. And I also wanted it to be filled with life lessons, doing acts of charity and connecting with Allah through helping others and worshiping Him. So many of you may say, what do you mean by a positive association? This is so critical in everything that you do, in your relationships, in teaching about the deen, is that the experience itself has to be enjoyable, that you start feeling good vibes and you start getting excited and happy anytime you think about the deen, anytime you think about Ramadan and fasting. And so this is what I'm going to share with you throughout, inshallah. Now, the story that came to mind when I was asked to talk about Ramadan. So many beautiful memories. I was flooded, and I may be in tears as I share some of these with you, because I hold it so dear to my heart. This one particular scene, I remember the kids being little and we wanted to instill that value of serving others in Ramadan. And we went out to pass Shantata Ramadan, right? We had the bags of Ramadan. And, being a non-Arab in Egypt, it had its challenges, but we did it. We did hijrah in order to instill the right values, have them learn Arabic. And so they were like, the kids are holding these heavy bags filled with, they were filled with rice and oil and things that they could have for the Ramadan. And we would go to students of knowledge. They were actually studying at Al-Azhar, and there were sometimes 2 families in a small 2-bedroom apartment, 9, 10 individuals. And I would see my kids carrying these bags, going up 4 flights of stairs. There were no elevators. It was a very poor area, and they were hot and they were sweaty. And the older boys at the time, they were fasting. And I just would remind them, I'm like, every drop of sweat is a hasanat, and I just wanted to raise men and women who are in service to the community, filled with a sense of compassion and gratefulness. And seeing when my kids would go up and they would see the lifestyle, it made them so compassionate, and it made them so much more content and grateful, subhanAllah. And the image of them carrying these bags up diligently up the stairs during Ramadan, it just warms my heart, because it was teaching them that Ramadan is not just about abstaining from food and water, but we need to use our resources to help the needy, right? So I want you to think about the love and excitement that you instill in your children for Ramadan. It is like a seed that will take root and grow into a strong, sturdy tree, inshallah, if it's nurtured properly. So just like a seed needs sunlight, needs water, it needs soil to grow, children need just the right environment to flourish. Now, we know that nothing, the Prophet ﷺ said that nothing is heavier on the scale of the believer on the day of resurrection than good character. Verily, Allah hates the vulgar, obscene person. And this is from Sunan at-Tirmidhi. And also that the most complete of believers in faith are those with the best character and who are the most kind to their families. So it is really critical for us to start with this. We have to really remember that the Prophet ﷺ came to complete our character, and he also said that the heaviest thing on the scale on the Day of Judgment, it's not the prayer, it's not the fasting, it is not the zakat, it is not the reading of the Quran, it is a good character. So whatever I say today is going to be rooted in our character and how we can pass this on to our children, okay? So I will talk about the different aspects of Ramadan, how we can get our children excited. And I'm going to take it from a psychological perspective of how we need to act as parents. It's not just going to be a list of, okay, do these things. First, I'm going to say what not to do. Because what I have seen in working with thousands of people for the past 3 decades is that things that sometimes seem common sense are not so common sense. And I find that many people, they have the right intentions. They want their kids to practice the deen. They want them to pray. They want them to fast and to read the Quran or memorize Quran, but they go about it all the wrong way. And unknowingly, they are pushing their kids away from the deen and sadly, sometimes out of Islam. So I'm going to share with you first what not to do. Okay, so I want you to be very open and honest. I don't want you to think about, oh, I know who needs to listen to this. If my sister-in-law was here, if my mother-in-law was here, if my friend was here, I want you to listen to this and reflect on yourself, on your own behavior, not on your spouse, not on anyone else. I want you to really look at this as, subhanAllah, Allah provides us rizq, and the rizq of knowledge and the rizq of remembrance is really critical for us to be open and receptive to. So Allah chose you to be here today to listen to this so that maybe, inshallah, you can change yourself. You can reflect and realize these are the things I need to work on. Maybe this is why my kids haven't been so excited. Maybe this is why they're not reading the Quran or they're not praying. So this will be very informative and it can be transformative, inshallah. The most critical thing is your attitude. Okay, what is your attitude regarding Ramadan? Now, I'm going to list the things what not to do, because many times I understand people, they are not fat, they are not eating, and they have a tendency to be hangry, right? And they might be cranky. And so what I find is that a lot of times, and I know as women, we have so much on our plate. And as fathers, you're working, you are sleep deprived, you are working so hard, keeping the house clean, making the food. I totally understand that. I know the struggle, but we cannot be cranky, because if you're cranky, if you're angry, right, there's sometimes it's just about anger and yelling. So don't do these things. Don't be cranky. Don't be angry. Don't be sad as if you are depleted and you wonder if someone is walking around and they're sad and they're depressed and they're angry, and then they wonder, why are my kids not excited about the deen? Why are they not taking part in what we're doing? We have to look within first. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah does not change the condition of the people until they change themselves. So if we don't look within, and if we don't change our personality, our akhlaq, our attitude, then we are not going to be able to teach our children, right? What not to do. Don't be forceful. Don't be threatening. Don't say that if you don't fast, you're going to the hellfire. Because these are the things, children, at the beginning, they need to be nurtured. They need to be encouraged. They need to be guided. And if we're only using fear tactics, many times people will run away from the deen. And I have seen, sadly, hundreds of my clients who are brought up in religious households stop praying, stop associating with Muslims, because all they heard was, you are going to go to the hellfire if you don't do this. That approach does not work. Brothers and sisters, we need to upgrade our approach in parenting. We need to use the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as our example, as our guiding example, and emulate him. He used love, he used kindness, he used gentleness. So we need to really stay away from the archaic way of threatening and forcing, and we are chasing our children out of Islam by doing that. So inshallah, now what is the right attitude? Okay, we first need to model the correct behavior. We need to I'm going to repeat that. We need to model the correct behavior. If we want our children to have a good attitude, we need to have a good attitude. Many times my clients will come in and they'll say, my child, she's so rude, or she's so arrogant, or she's so stubborn. And then you find that there are a lot of similarities in the characteristic. And you find that whatever that the parent is complaining about is actually what the child has adopted. So the right attitude to have is cheerfulness. Smile, because the Prophet ﷺ said that smiling is a charity. Now, most of the time, people, when they go to the masjid, they're smiling. When they're at work or at school, they're smiling. And at home, it's a different look. They're just grumpy, right? And I had a client come in and say, sister, I am Jekyll and Hyde. When I'm with others, I'm charming, I'm nice, but then when I come home, I'm a monster. We can't be like that. We know that the surveillance cameras are on. Allah is seeing us. All our deeds are being recorded. So whether you're out and people are seeing you, your public persona, or you're at home, and the behind closed doors is so critical how you behave, because all of that is going to be played back to us. We need to be excited. We need to feel the sense of excitement and joy, because it is contagious. Just like anger and sadness and anxiety are contagious, these positive traits are also contagious. We need to be optimistic, make it fun, be loving, and lots of encouragement. So the right attitude is that we need to really make sure that we come into this, even though you're tired, even though you have a lot of responsibilities. If you're dragging yourself, I want you to really see it as your responsibility to get yourself to a good place. It's not your spouse's job. It's not your kid's job. It's not anybody's job except yourself. So do the necessary self-care, do the necessary exercise, praying, ask Allah, if you have a tendency to be cranky and negative and just mope around, ask Allah, say, Ya Allah, I want to change myself. Ya Allah, give me the ability to pass on. You cannot make your children love the deen if you do it with anger and resentment and sadness and be like threatening. Okay, so that's the first thing, is having the right attitude. Then we have to create the ambiance. When I asked my daughter, who is 19 now, and mashallah, she is teaching Islamic studies at an institute here. But when I talked to her, I said, what do you recall from Ramadan when you were little? What do you feel? What do you reflect on, and what are your memories? She goes, it was so festive. The house was festive. It was something we look forward to. There was always a feeling of encouragement and reward. Alhamdulillah. And when you do that early on, guess what happens? They pass it on. They end up being the individuals in the community, in society, and inshallah in the ummah that are carrying the torch, and they will pass on the enthusiasm, the happiness, the positivity. But if you don't pour it into them, they are not going to have it. So you have to create an ambiance. You decorate the house. You have so many different holidays, especially living in the West. And maybe some of you, I know when we lived in Dubai, we lived in different places, and all the celebrations, all the holidays are celebrated, not just the Eids. So you feel like, oh my gosh, what am I up against? I remember when I had my firstborn, and Ramadan and Christmas were lined up, and you see the lights, you see the trees, you see so much, and we are telling our children, don't eat, don't drink, and you have to balance it out in some way. Our deen is beautiful and it's perfect, and we don't need to feel in any way that there's something missing, but we have to make sure that we use a little psychology to create an ambiance, create that, decorating the house, putting some lights, the Ramadan countdown. I saw this actually, a friend had a video that she said they have made, and I'm not sure exactly what it was called, but it's kind of like a Ramadan countdown. If you think of, there were boards and little boxes that you pull out, and every day there's a little treat. And when they do an activity, whatever it is, maybe they do their dhikr, maybe they are, giving in sadaqah, whatever it is, they are able to open that up and get that treat. When you make it festive, when you make it a way of celebrating and being excited, and it's not just about deprivation and being strict, it's making all of the things within our deen beautiful and presenting it in a way that it tastes like honey, right? Sometimes we just have to give it that taste of honey. So you need to also be very vigilant in sharing You have to share the stories that gives the significance of fasting. That fasting, why are we doing it? Because many times I find that parents are just saying you need to pray, you need to fast, and it's more focused on just the rituals without reflecting on how critical this is. This is building us. Allah doesn't need for us to stay away from food and water. He does not need for us to get up and pray at night. It's all done for us. And when we are able to share that with our children and we're able to tell them how important it is and what this is doing for us, then we are going to be able to get them on board. You have to, it's kind of like when you think about it, when the psychology of selling, right? You have to talk in an angle, in a way that attracts the person. If you only talk about the things that, for instance, when someone is coming to Islam, many times people start off, well, you can't do this anymore, you can't do that. And that's not what's going to win them over, right? Eventually, when they have the love of Allah, when they understand, people are willing to give up everything for the sake of Allah. How many stories of converts that we have that they used to have a very different lifestyle and they gave it all up because they knew Allah. They loved Allah. And once they loved Allah, they're like, what is this in comparison? So don't start off with the restrictions and the strictness. Start off by saying how this is going to make you stronger and how this, you learn taqwa through fasting. You learn self-control. One of the things I have seen within my clients when they are not when they don't have self-management, when they're not able to control their emotions, what happens is that they lash out, they say hurtful words, they may end their marriage, they may do some really regretful things because they don't have control. They're just like, well, I don't know, I can't control myself. When I get angry, I can't control myself. But this is training us. It's a training ground to be mindful of Allah. You know how important mindfulness, that's why I have a whole mentorship program based on mindfulness, that we are mindful of Allah, we are mindful of our behavior, we are mindful of our thoughts and actions. Because when you know that Allah is watching you, it's not just about being afraid of your parents and getting caught. It's not just about the teacher catching you cheating. It's about Allah is watching. When you instill that in your children, then you are not going to have to worry about them. They can be in a different country and you're not worried what they're up to because you know that it's not about you being like a police officer. They know that Allah is watching them. And you tell them how this teaches you empathy. Empathy when you experience being hungry, when you experience being thirsty, you are more empathetic when someone is deprived of food. And we are trained and we become a more compassionate person. It also teaches you to control your emotions because it's not just abstaining from food and water. We have to have a beautiful character. If someone starts arguing with you, you say, I am fasting. You don't engage in that. You don't want to lose hours and hours of fasting just because you lost your temper. So it teaches you, and you have to teach your kids that all of this, Allah is giving us, it's like a boot camp for becoming a better version of ourselves. It's a boot camp to be stronger, boot camp to control our emotions. When you teach them all this, and it's not just about being forced, then they start understanding that, okay, I am getting to work on myself. It's like going to the gym. The gym is not always pleasant. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you don't feel like doing it. But when you are consistent and you do it, you see results. So it all starts with how you wake your kids up in the morning for suhoor. Here's what not to do. And this is what I hear from a lot of parents. Don't yell. Don't yell at them when you're waking them up for suhoor. Don't threaten that if you don't do this, then Allah's going to be mad at you and angry. Don't push and pull. Don't get mad and call them names. This calling of names, وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. Like we are being told that wailun, like woe to the person who calls others names. And we do this sometimes. I know of parents who call their children names, horrible names. Horrible names. I had a client that came in, and she's a muhajjaba, she's a teenager, lovely, sweet girl. She has times that she gets angry. She has times that she picks fight. The father calls her evil. I said, well, why are you calling this lovely, young, wholesome girl evil? You're going to make her want to become evil. So we cannot, no name calling. No, you're lazy, you're stupid, these are just unacceptable. We really have to become enlightened and realize that our children, they are an amana, and whatever we put into them is what's going to come out. So if you it's like programming, right? If you program a computer to do certain things, that's what you're going to get out of it. You have no one to blame but yourself. If you program that you're dumb, you're stupid, you can't do anything, and then you wonder, why don't they have confidence? Why are they so diffident? They lack initiative, because they are afraid to do anything because of the criticism. Now, how do you wake up your kids? This is what to do. You have to be loving and gentle. Ibn Majah has been narrated to say, Allah is gentle and loves gentleness, and he grants reward for it that he does not grant for harshness. So our gentleness, the Prophet ﷺ was gentle, and we have to make sure that we implement this. Now, I want you to think about, at the time when Musa was being sent to the transgressor, Pharaoh, he was being sent to give him nasiha, to advise him, to warn him. And Allah, in his infinite wisdom, what did he advise? What did he advise Musa? فَقُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ أَوْ يَخْشَى. And speak to him with gentle speech, that perhaps he may be reminded or fear Allah. This is in Surah Taha, ayah number 44. This is a transgressor. This is the person who says, I'm God, and he kills people, and he was horrible. He was the biggest tyrant. And Allah is telling Musa, his precious and beloved prophet, speak gently, because maybe his heart will be softened. Why are we talking with such harshness to our children? Why are we calling them names? And why are we threatening and being so harsh? We are pushing them away. More and more of our children, unfortunately, are leaving Islam, and it has so much to do with the parenting. I get so saddened when I see that simple things like waking your child up with kindness and gentleness, this will make them feel love for the deen, right? So it is critical for us to show that the gentleness. And I remember my mom, Allah yarhamha, she had the most beautiful character, and I'm so grateful to her because she was the role model, and she instilled in me that love and that compassion. When she would wake me up for suhoor, she would massage my fingers one by one. She would massage it, and so I would wake up gently. You know how it is. If the lights are turned on in the morning and you're yelled at, it startles you. It's not a nice way to wake up. So try to be gentle, be cheerful. Be cheerful and be encouraging. Show them, say that, Allah is wanting to hear your du'as. Allah is wanting you're getting stronger. Allah loves those, and He's going to shade those who are young and worshiping Allah. Be compassionate. and remind them. One of the things that I would do when I would wake up my children for Fajr, I'm like, Allah has blessed you with so much. Take a few minutes to thank Him. Take a few minutes to get up. And because Allah says that if you are grateful, then I will increase for you. So we don't want to like have it in a way that we are heedless, we overlook, we are ungrateful, we are complaining all the time, and then boom, in an instant, everything goes away. And I would always remind my children of this, that let us be grateful for all the things that we have so that Allah will increase the blessings and not take any of it away. So when you are waking them up with gentleness and kindness and lovingness, they're going to feel loved. They're going to be happy. We are all craving attention. We are all craving love. And when you give that to your children, you are going to, just penetrate their heart. Now, if it's hard for them to wake up, let's say they are really, really tired and they're unable to wake up, take a glass of water. Don't say, well, whatever, I tried to wake them up. It was their fault. It's your problem. Don't be like that. Take a glass of water, take a date, say, come on, sweetheart, wake up. Use gentle words, use habibi, habibti, use loving words to deal with your children. All right, now what about the worship? What about the worship that we want to instill? Here's what not to do. Again, I start off with what not to do because unfortunately it is way too common. It is way too common. I've done many parenting classes. I've done it here at the masajid, and the moms are very open and honest. They're like, you know what? At home, I am a tyrant. I'm a tyrant. I'm a drill sergeant. I frown and I yell. And this is really sad because, sometimes when you're so adamant about the house being clean, homework being done, everything flowing at the right time in the right way, we lose sight of the experience. And when you become a drill sergeant, when you are just, giving orders, then what do the kids remember? And when I am doing, when I do the sessions with young adults, and I ask them about their mother, they don't tell me, oh, the house was always spick and span, food, we had warm food, and our laundry was done. What do they say? It's like, Mom was always yelling. She was so mad. She was mad at the world. She was always yelling. She's always, getting mad at us. And is that how you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as the nagging, mad mother? Or do you want to be remembered in such a beautiful way that, wow, what an exemplary mom? So don't yell across the house to pray. Pray, Ahmad, you need to pray. Sarah, did you do your prayer? Don't say, did you pray? Did you pray? And then when they say yes, then you accuse them of lying, right? So there's this like, did you pray? No, you didn't, you liar. Again, don't label your children. Even if they're lying about prayer, you have to hold them to a level where you feel that I know that you love Allah. I know that you're a good person. You always have to treat your kids as if you know that they're good. Don't be harsh. Like, pray. And if you don't pray, and then nagging and nagging and nagging, they're gonna tune you out. And don't threaten. There are so many of the people I've worked with, they tell me that they were basically told, if your wudu is not perfect, your prayer is not going to be accepted, and you're going to the nar. I'm going to hellfire, so what's the point? And they stop praying. This is what we have to be very, very careful about. So we're not going to do the yelling, the harshness, the nagging, and the threatening. So how do you do it? How do you get your kids to worship? How do you get them to actually come willingly, happily, with a smile on their face? How do you do it in a way that you instill the love of Allah in their heart, that forever they will be carrying that torch and you will be earning from the sadaqah jariyah? It is not enough for us to force certain rituals in our home under our watch, but as soon as they step out of the house, they have a double personality, because the reality is this is what's happening with our youth. I was teaching 100 youth, and what they told me is that almost everyone they know, they have a double personality. Double personality. With their parents at the masjid, they're one way. With their friends, completely different. We are breeding hypocrisy by treating them this way, by being so harsh. They feel like, oh God, I'm so scared. Let me just do it in front of them. And then behind their backs, they are just doing it all, sadly. So we want to make it in a way that they love worship. So have them pray with you. Don't say, go pray. It's time to pray. Did you pray? No. Say, Habibi, come pray with me. Right? Let's pray together. Let's pray as a family. I remember having my son lead. I'm like, I love your voice, Habibi. Please lead me. Lead me in your prayer. Teach them. Build them. We need to build our children. We can't keep crushing, and then wonder why they are depressed and suicidal. We need to build our children up. And then you need to reward them. So you say, I'm standing with, right now we are standing before Allah. Right? And I remember being at the masjid. We were on a road trip and we stopped. Somewhere on our way to Austin, and we stopped at a masjid and we came to pray, and there were these kids that they were just running, and none of the moms were telling them anything, and it was so difficult to focus. And usually you have the masjid police who yells and screams at the kids and says, sit down, and they create a negative association to the masjid. So I wanted to address it before any of those masjid police got involved. And I came with a smile. I sat next to them. I'm like, how much Allah loves you, that you're little and you're at the masjid. MashaAllah, it's so good. It's so good to be little and to be at the masjid. And then I asked them, if there was, let's say, a president of a country, how would you act if the president was there and you were talking to him? They're like, we would be very polite. And I go, do you know that when we're praying, we're talking to the King of Kings? He is the creator of the heavens and the earth. And we have to be so polite. They totally changed. They lit up. They lit up because they understood. All we have to do is explain and understand, not yell and scream. Another time I was praying with a group of people, the little girl, she was only like 3 or 4, but she wasn't given the explanation. So she's doing gymnastics, during the prayer. Afterwards, and everyone is laughing. They found it funny. And I said, I took her aside. I go, you're standing. Allah, the one who gave you your eyes, the one who gave you your hands and your cute feet that you're doing all this gymnastics. We're standing before Allah and we're saying, thank you, Ya Allah. So how should we stand? The next time we prayed, she was so polite. So when you teach them and you tell them with kindness, you tell them with love, then they're able to implement it. And right after you're done, you reward them with love and attention. That was the thing we were doing. As soon as we gave salams, I'd hug my kids, give them a lot of love, and that was rewarding. What did that do? That created a positive association. When you're polite and when you pray and you do the right things, you're going to get that love and attention, and you're going to be rewarded. Make a prayer chart for them and put stickers. Give them rewards. I remember when my kids, they were memorizing the Quran, mashallah, tabarakallah, with the sheikh. They were very young when they started. So we had the different stars, and you have the silver, the red, the blue, and we had kind of like if gold was the best, and if they behaved and if they did well, then they would get the gold. And so I came across that book a while ago when I was organizing the garage. And I was like, subhanAllah, it was these things that instilled the love of learning the Quran. It was these things that now, mashallah, tabarakallah, that they are the leaders in the community. They are giving the khutbahs. They are the ones who are teaching because the love was instilled in their heart. And may Allah keep them strong in the straight path. And I pray that Allah guides all our children. And if they have been misguided, Ya Allah, help them to be guided back on their straight path. But it all starts with these acts. Reward reading the Quran, and one of the things I remember while my kids were memorizing the Quran, for every juz that they would memorize, we would have a party. It was a juz party. And it was, what people normally would do for a birthday party, I did for you completed a juz. And it was the cake and the balloons. And they found it so fun. And it got to a point that, my son was just like, Mom, you don't need to do the parties anymore. Like he grew out of it. But we instilled that happiness, the excitement at the beginning for them, because you can't just expect them to do it for the love of Allah at the very beginning. You do it with this encouragement, and then they start doing it, and they will do it for the love of Allah, inshallah. I remember going to Taraweeh. Now, be careful with the Taraweeh, because sometimes the kids, they don't understand the Quran. They get tired, and the parents make them do the whole thing, and they get bored, and they get frustrated. I would recommend, if you're going to the masjid, have them go to a youth program if they have it. If you don't have it, create something for your kids. It would be much better to do, let's say, something at home with a group of kids where you take turns. Maybe you get a group of families together, and you alternate going to the masjid, because I know how important it is to be at the masjid and to experience the Taraweeh. I loved it. And even when my kids were little, I would take them, but I didn't expect them to pray the whole thing. I let them, if they wanted to do a few rakats, and then if they got tired, I wouldn't guilt them into it, because you want it to be easy and you want to make it enjoyable. So if it's a kid-oriented Taraweeh, maybe shorter with fun activities, I would highly recommend that. And then the etikaf, I have the most amazing memories about doing etikaf. We were in Houston at Masjid al-Faruq. They would go, and they were so excited about wearing their pajamas at the masjid. And we would take their bags, and they would have their snacks. And they knew that you have to do a little Quran, you do the prayer, but it was just making it fun, right? You can't just yell and scream and say, sit down, be quiet, don't do this. You have to bring something for them to do. And they have such fond memories of doing itikaf. So it all comes to instilling that excitement. Now, fasting. The fasting, what not to do. Don't force it without positive association or explanation. Don't threaten and tell them that they'll go to hell if they don't fast. And don't belittle them or call them names, okay? So I'm going to keep repeating this, because unfortunately, this is the way a lot of people in 2024 are dealing with their children. And as they stop praying, as they stop identifying as being a Muslim, the parents are puzzled. I don't know why. I don't know why are my kids, why do they hate Islam? And they don't reflect that it was all the ways that you went about it. I know you mean well. I know you care. I know you're scared of your kids going to the hellfire, but threatening them every single time for every prayer, every worship, every Quran that they read is not healthy. Psychologically, they shut down. If you want to thrive, you have to talk with positivity. You have to encourage. Okay. There was a Harvard study, very interesting, where the study, they had six adults fitting in circular objects into circular holes. You have rectangular objects and rectangular, something that a two-year-old do. Okay. So they had a time limit, and they were told, put these objects in place. Then they had a person As they were doing it, this person with a negative tone was saying, "You're so stupid. You can't do it. This is too hard. Oh my God, you'll never get done in time." How many of those people do you think were able to complete the task that usually a 2-year-old can accomplish? How many? By just hearing the negativity, none of them, not one. And what do we do right before they go to school? "You're stupid, you're lazy, you can't do anything." And then you send them off. Brain is shut down. Mood is shot. No self-esteem, no belief in themselves. And then they did the same study. Same exact thing, 6 adults. Time limit, but then this time they had someone saying, "You've got this. You're so smart. This is easy." Every single one of them were able to complete the task. So what kind of parent are you? Are you the one sitting there yapping, and actually preventing your child from learning and embracing and growing? Or are you the one cheering them on? Are you the one who is instilling the love of the deen? Are you the one who is making them feel the sense of excitement and happiness? Okay, so the fasting, you train them. When they are little, I remember my daughter, when she was like, let's say 3, I'm like, okay, we're gonna fast from breakfast to lunch, no snacks. Okay, we're just like little by little. Then you do half a day, depending on their age. It's like, we're gonna do a half day fast. Then you do a full day, and then with treats. I remember my son, Kareem, he loved my carrot cake. He still loves the carrot cake. And I would make it, and he would sit there and he was smelling it right before iftar time with that excitement of having carrot cake, and me allowing him to start with dessert. Wow, what a treat, right? So it's little things that you can do to make it exciting. Be encouraging, right? Remind them of the reward, like how much Allah is washing away any sins. Allah is going to, to excite them about Jannah. And I remember when I was little, my grandma, Allah yarhamha, would talk to me about Jannah in such descriptive ways that if anyone ever told me, "What do you want, like as a gift?" I just want Jannah. Like, why would you ask me about a toy when I could have Jannah? So we have to do that. We need to make them excited about attaining Jannah, not just scare them about the hellfire, okay? You can also make special treats, things that they look forward to. Make their favorite foods. Have them make it with you. Maybe do Ramadan-shaped cookies, whether it's the stars, the moons. Make it an enjoyable experience. And then it's about the sadaqah, right? You have to really instill in your children that Ramadan is a time of doing sadaqah. And we were very blessed when we were in Egypt. There were so many opportunities for doing khair. And I remember there was an orphanage very close to us. And so I wanted the kids to have the experience of taking their things and giving it themselves and gifting it. And first of all, presenting it in a beautiful way. So I would have them, fold it nicely, put it in a box so that they feel like they're getting something new. And also training them that every time we bought something for them, they knew that they had to give certain things away. I was like, we have to give it away. That's our way of showing gratitude, and we make space for it. So it became a habit. So anytime my kids got something new, they're like, okay, this is what we can give to the orphanage. And they developed a relationship with them. They look forward to it. And initially, I remember it was easier for my boys. For my daughter, I told her, let's go in. These are people that they don't have parents, and we need to go and we need to be kind to them. And the Prophet ﷺ said, if you just stroke the head of an orphan, you get the rewards of all the hair on their heads. And I said, so just encouraging them. And one of the things that we did is I remember I had my nieces and nephews. They were older. They were in college at the time. They came to visit us in Egypt. And I asked a friend, I go, please create a beautiful opportunity during Ramadan. I want us to do something, a humanitarian act. And she set it up, mashallah, tabarakallah, where there was the family that was hosting 100 blind people. 100 blind people in their backyard, and just such generosity that I saw, mashallah. And we went, and during iftar time, my kids, my niece, my nephew were all helping them to eat. This really left an impact on all of them. Like, just instead of being like, oh my God, it's my time, I'm so hungry, I want to eat, but helping others, those who cannot see. And these are the things that leave lasting memories. And here in Dallas, this is where we are, helping the refugees, right? There are organizations that help refugees, and every night they give iftar. So showing up and helping out with that. And when you get your children to do this form of sadaqah, I remember it had such an impact on my son, Kareem. He started writing poetry when he was in middle school. He started writing poetry about refugees. He started writing poetry about first world problem versus third world problems. And mashallah, it was so heartfelt because he experienced it. He experienced it, and it wasn't just like you sitting there and saying, yeah, there are people dying in Africa because they don't have food. They actually saw it. And that's so important to experience it. And also, like what I had mentioned about passing out groceries. So that form of sadaqah is very important. And then about Eid. I'm going to share what not to do on Eid because, unfortunately, you find that there are some people that they go to work, they don't celebrate. It's just another ordinary day. Or they end up getting mad and they yell, and just because they want everything to be perfect, it becomes more about perfection, and then they put everyone in a bad mood. So first and foremost, please stop expecting perfection. Okay, your home can't be perfect. Your spouse cannot be perfect. Your children cannot be perfect. And as you go through life expecting perfection, which does not exist, you're going to ruin your life. You're going to ruin your experience. You're going to ruin the experience for everyone around you. So it's very critical to understand that. It's very critical to make the experience enjoyable. The end does not justify the means, right? So it's not just about, okay, he's praying. That's all that matters. No, the experience. How did you get him to pray? How did you get him to wake up? How did you encourage afterwards? It is not just the ritual, you guys. I know that there's so many parents who are just focused on the ritual. I don't care. I got him to pray. Yes, but when they leave your house, are they going to continue praying? When they are at their friends, are they going to stand up and be proud and aware and mindful that they're going to pray outside where people can see them? Or are they just doing it because they're afraid of you? This is what we need to keep in mind. So sometimes Eid also becomes just about the parents. The parents end up they just visit their friends. They don't really care. They don't really care about the kids. This has to be about the kids, okay? So what do you do? First and foremost, again and again and again, I'm going to say it. Be cheerful, okay? Parents, I want you to smile from ear to ear, okay? So let's do this example, you guys. Smile from ear to ear. Smile. I can't see you, but I'm trusting you. Smile from ear to ear, okay? Without moving a muscle. Can you be sad? No, you can't, because your muscles are sending a message to your brain saying she's happy or he's happy. So trick your brain. Even if you're in a bad mood, try it. Just smile. It is the sunnah. Get new clothes for them. Get them excited. Get gifts. I remember when the kids were little, we would, stay up late, wrap all their presents, and then in the morning we'd be like Eid Mubarak, and it'd just make it exciting, and the kids would wake up, and there was just, we created these rituals that when I grew up, Allah yarhamhum, my parents, they did their absolute best, but they didn't really make a big deal about Ramadan. They didn't make a big deal about Eid. I didn't really experience it until I went to college and I started having Muslim friends, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay. But the good thing is, I was doing it, and it was, just for the sake of Allah, but it wasn't for the gifts, the celebrations, any of that. It wasn't really instilled. So we wanted to create our own customs because we didn't have it, and neither did my husband. So if you are a convert, or if your parents didn't do any of this, don't be sad about it. It's actually beautiful because you get to design your customs. You get to decide like what your traditions are going to be. And we did this for years of bringing the gifts. And I remember after some time, when the kids were in college, then I remember a few Eids. I think we didn't go through that. We didn't make it. And what was beautiful is that my older son, he had gotten gifts for everyone. He packed it, and he came. It makes me emotional. He started saying Eid Mubarak, like the way we did it. And this is what you're going to see. You're going to see that whatever you instill in your children, if you give and you're kind and you're generous and you're in a good mood, they are going to bring that back to you, and then they're going to be able to pass it on to your children, to your grandchildren, inshallah, to their children. So make it festive, make it a celebration, invite friends and family, and make sure that you're doing the things that your kids enjoy. It's things that they enjoy. If they want to go, I remember there were some years we'd go to the lake, we'd do like jet skis, we'd go to the what was arcade. They liked to play games. It was kid centric. Okay. We want to do things that would bring joy, happiness to the kids. Right? And one of the we got in the habit of doing was sharing blessings on that day. In the morning we custom blessing up for eat, pray. That was a must. And then we would go for brunch, all dressed up, and then we would go, and we had planned out a beautiful Eid party for the orphanage. So that was this, I wanted the kids to know that it's not about just being selfish and thinking about ourselves. And, we are capable of doing this, but many people are not. And Eid is not special because they don't have parents. So we would do this big celebration at the orphanage, alhamdulillah. We would put those jumping castles, and we would bring a clown, and there was like popcorn and gifts, and that was like one of the most beautiful experiences. So for each Eid we would plan this, and the kids would love celebrating with the orphans, and they would play with them, and we would give a personalized gift to each one. And that really was one of, like, when we did that and we were able to share the blessings with people who are less fortunate. It really, those were the most precious Eids that I've ever experienced in my life. And so if you're able to do that, if you're able to see who is it that is in need, maybe whether it's, let's say, the converts, sometimes the converts, they have no families, and if you could have them over and have them be a part of your family, maybe they're people, they're refugees that can't afford it, just, bring people together and celebrate. And, it can be an excellent opportunity for you to get close to your family. It's an excellent opportunity to instill the love of the Deen, the love of Allah, the love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through these activities. And I can say that, now that my children are older, that, they reflect back with such fondness those experiences instilled in them, the love, alhamdulillah, mashallah, tabarakallah. And I pray that those of you who have young children, that inshallah you can bring this kind of love and excitement to them. Those of you who are not yet married, I pray that Allah blesses, everyone that is looking for a spouse, including, our children, inshallah, that Allah blesses them with righteous spouses, that, that they bring that sakina, into a home, and you work towards Jannah together. And I pray that those who, let's say you found yourself, I'm doing all the wrong things. I remember I gave a talk in Houston once, and it was 10 ways to destroy your children or ruin your children. Okay. And then a lady came up and she goes, I do every single one. And she was really sad. And I said, look, you did the best that you knew with what you had. You did the best that you knew. So now, if you found yourself being one of those of like, all the things that I listed not to do, that's what you normally do, just make a commitment to yourself right now. Make a commitment and say, first of all, do tawbah. Do tawbah that you were harsh. Do tawbah that you were threatening. Do tawbah that you did name calling. And say, Ya Allah, I want to be better. I want to be better. I really want to instill love and compassion and excitement. And it's never too late. It's never too late. I mean, sometimes the damage has been done, and you do your best, but if you are able to change yourself, then they will respect you more. And sometimes it skips a generation, sadly. And I've seen this happen with some people where they didn't have maybe the deen. Or, I mean, I know all of you who are here, mashallah, I'm sure have the deen in IOU. However, maybe you didn't have the methodology to teach it. Maybe you didn't have that. And it skips a generation. Your kids are already older, they're already married, and maybe they're not as practicing, but you have your grandkids, right? So there's never a change. Like you don't want to lose hope. There's always hope. There's always that, okay. And I've seen this happen where, this amazing lady that I knew, she raised really exceptional children, and they're very successful in the dunya, but she didn't have the deen to pass it on to them. But then she became religious later, like in her 50s, and then she started instilling that in her grandchildren. So it is very important never to give up. And if you don't have kids, if you don't have grandkids, then find children in the community that you can inspire, because we are all here for a reason, and we can all do our part, and whatever you do has a ripple effect, right? Just like you toss a stone, you toss a rock into a pond and you see the ripples, right? So if you show that kindness and love to your children will pass it on to their communities, to their children, and the sadaqah jariyah is amazing. So I pray that Allah helps us, that not only do we do more rituals, that we do more khair during Ramadan, but we beautify our character. Ya Allah, help us to behave in a way that we treat these precious amanas in a way that is pleasing to you. Ya Allah, help us to emulate the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our akhlaq, in the way we treat our spouse, our children. A lot of times people they want to isolate themselves. They see their spouse and their kids kind of as a nuisance. And this is wrong. During Ramadan, we need to be united. We need to bring each other together and be more loving and more compassionate. So I really do pray that Allah helps us, that this Ramadan, first of all, may we reach Ramadan. Ya Allah, help us to reach this Ramadan. Many people thought they're going to reach it, and they did not reach it. So may Allah help us to reach this Ramadan, and may this Ramadan be transformative in the way that we treat our family, especially our children. Jazakallah khairan, and may Allah bless all of you for tuning in today and for coming and preparing your hearts and your mind for the blessed month of Ramadan. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sister Haleh, for your wonderful session. It was indeed an elaborate and intricate explanation on the topic of Ramadan with the family.
Oh, you're so welcome. Wayaki, it was a pleasure, and inshallah that everyone benefits. So thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's really an honor to have you on this platform with us. It was really insightful, and as you shared, it will be a very positive. It will be with a very positive attitude, inshallah, for the coming Ramadan. Assalamu
Inshallah.
alaikum.
Jazakallah khairan. Enjoy the rest of the program. Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all achieve our Ramadan goals. And we are
Ameen.
really thankful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the opportunity to have you with us here today.
Thank you so much. You're very kind. I appreciate it, and may Allah accept from all of us. Salaam
Ameen.
alaikum.
Alaikum. Just a gentle reminder for our attendees to please check out the details of our upcoming event for day 2 of the Ramadan Retreat Conference 2024. The event information is on the screen, and our chat moderators will be sending the links to each event in the chat too, so you can check them out too. And with that, our event is coming to an end. Here on screen, you will see further in contact information. The UAE Student Community Chairperson email is displayed, where you can email our chairperson directly for any and all queries. Directly below is the IOU Help Desk email too. You can use this email to attain any sort of information about IOU and for them to aid you in any sort of process too. Jazakumullahu khairan, everyone. I hope all of you benefited from our session today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this Ramadan one of the best. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.